Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Design Build Central, a podcast for design build remodelers by design build remodelers. I just happen to be one of those people. My name is Bill Milholland, and I am here with my fabulous co-host.
Yes, I'm a design build remodeler too.
Mr. Case. So a little bit of housekeeping first. Fred Case Award.
Yep.
Tell the good people about the Fred Case Award.
So my dad started that in 2007.
Long time ago.
To try to, he obviously grew up in the industry, had his own company, didn't have any employees till I think 10 years after he started. So he recognized, this is probably a longer story than you're looking for.
I love this story, and I've heard it 10,000 times, so I want to hear it again.
See if it's right. But 10 years, no employees. So he recognizes how this is a tough industry. He recognizes that on top of that, people who innovate, who are trying to improve their business, their client experience, their team experience, are really doing something special. So he wanted to do something for the industry. So in 2007, he started the Fred Case Award. And basically it awards there's four finalists, one of whom is a winner. And there's a monetary award. But frankly, I think more importantly, there's recognition with Qualified Remodeler, but also we all get to spend a day together here and share, pull back the curtain. How do we do things here at Case? Hear how you do things. Also the other finalists, and we all share that. The other thing I'll say, which you brought up in the last episode, Bill, that I'll stress also, you don't have to reinvent the world. I think some people say, I don't know if I've done enough. I don't. Fill out the application. It's a page or two. You go to Fred Case, just Google Fred Case Award. It'll come up. It's online. And frankly, I feel like number one is the bar isn't as high as you'd think because there is a cap at $8 million of annual sales. So you're not competing against the biggest of the big builders, remodelers, architects in the world.
Right.
But secondly, I think just filling out the application, there's some introspection to say, what have I done in the last year or so or two that is different and new? And even if you don't want to submit the application, right? I mean,
at least give yourself a pat on the back.
Exactly.
Like we improved customer service or our employees now are eligible for, or whatever. We came up with this amazing detail that we've repeated across 10 projects now, and it's made us more efficient and solved callback issues and blah, 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 whatever that stuff is. I mean, people are, like you said, if you jot it down, you're probably better than you think.
Yeah.
And
it's hopefully feels good because probably anybody listening to this has done some things to improve their business.
Yeah, I'm still working on it, but I got time.
You've done time. But how often do we stop and just call a timeout for an hour or two, not a big deal, and just think about, wait a minute, let me reflect on that.
And I think Fred's passion for remodeling is what we do in that day, right?
Yep.
It's just a chance for a bunch of remodelers to sit around and talk about remodeling.
Yep.
How we do it, how you do it. What is your idea for this? This is our perspective on that. Just geek out a little bit on remodeling for a day.
So go to Google Fred Case Award. It'll come up. It's right online. Fill it out. Send it in. The deadline is usually around July.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of time.
Some time. Get your piece of paper out or your iPad or your Kindle, whatever.
AI
there you
choice,
go.
but
please don't not use AI. I was going to
say,
come up with your answer.
Exactly.
You're better than that. We need your input. Anyway, please do that. It's a great thing. But today we are going to talk a little bit about, in the past we've talked about joints and how at the joints in our process, it's like between the two cushions in the couch. It's where the crud accumulates.
As you're saying that, I'm thinking as I get older, my joints are also weak.
Find a way to get the vacuum out and clean that up sometime. And what we were going to talk about today is one of the biggest joints, right? And that is the handoff, the pass of all the information that's occurred pre-contract to production. So we've gone through a process. We've worked with a client. We've developed a project. We've estimated that project. We've had trades involved. We've made all our selections. We put a number on it. That client has signed that contract. Hours and hours and hours of
work. Well, the work's done now.
I've gone into that a million if only. If only. A lot of conversations have happened during that course of time. And now we've got to transfer that information to a project manager. And that project manager, at least in our world, is responsible for building that project. Again, with resources, a team of people to help and support, but we use this kind of as one of the points where we pass the baton from design and sales to
Definitely
production.
an internal handoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is again, just to back up for a second, the project manager's had a chance to review all of these documents, has agreed to all of these documents, but there are so many things that fall outside of that, right? Conversations that had happened. Maybe we've got an allowance in for something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we haven't picked a grout or
Changes
whatever.
at the contract signing table where they take some
all those sorts of things. So this is where we go through it. And I think we've mentioned a couple of times that we do have some forms. If you're interested in that, I think it's now. We tried to make it on one page.
I like how you drew that too. It is a rectangular form, not a circle. It's not a circle.
It is not a circle. Yeah? No, it is not a circle. And on this form, what we've tried to do is, and the outline of the meeting is to march through that project and just try and identify anything in there that might have slipped through the cracks or that needs to be resolved, and again, might be an allowance, might be a permit. Who's going to submit the permit? When are you going to submit the permit? We've got to do a pre-construction walkthrough with the client, get them oriented, those types of things as we go. And it's, again, depending on what your lead time is, it could have been 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks ago that contract was signed, and everybody's like, so what are we doing again? And you're pulling all this out and trying to remember it. It's a way to take a snapshot right then, document what's going on and who's responsible for what.
Yep. I was at a conference, and this was back in the remodeling show days, so I'm dating it, right? Maybe 15 years ago, and I went to the speaker, and he said that what he sees in his company, and he was a remodeler, is that people want to take the file. At the time, there wasn't as much tech. Take the file and put it on someone else's desk. Let me just get it off my desk and put it on someone else's desk. And to me, this is a great example where once I sell a job, I kind of want to take the file and put it on the PM's desk and say kind of like, okay, I've done my job. It's your job now. And then that joint breaks because there isn't that connection that you're referring to. And one thing, I'm a fan of the form, and again, you can email us and we'll send it to you. But that, frankly, you did, Bill, was you put in there all the things you could think of.
Everything I could.
Grout color, cabinet. I mean, just everything. And some of them might not apply. I mean, it might be.
I bet 90%.
Exactly.
Apply. There must be 200 items.
Yeah, but I love it because then it's like, okay, if they don't apply, just skip. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we would have forgotten this because it's so easy to forget.
So easy to forget. Or your point about things get adjusted, even at a contract.
Yeah.
Like, we did decide we want to add those 6 recessed lights in the dining room. Well, now we probably ought to get an updated proposal from the electrician to include that sort of stuff. So when we write a subcontract agreement, it includes that sort of those 6 lights, and everybody knows what they're supposed to be. Probably ought to get those on the drawings so that the guys in the field know what we're going to do, and there might be some patching involved or whatever sort of stuff. But that it all slips through the cracks, or a client, whatever, they decided to keep the dishwasher and they're going to reuse it.
Right.
Well, that was a last minute change, and we better make sure we don't throw that dishwasher away or give it away, recycle it, whatever we might do. But it's just an attempt to try and capture all of those simple little details that fall through the cracks.
And even bigger ones too, right? I mean, we're talking about the project manager, the project developer in our case, but also the designer, because for instance, when are we going to submit for permit? Oh, we're hoping to start here. That means we better submit by this date. And are you good with that designer or not? And let's talk about it. Ordering cabinets in our case it could be 8 to 10 weeks, depending, to get cabinets.
Absolutely. And one of the things that happens some of the time, not all of the time, but it's really helpful to have a schedule for the project at that meeting, because project managers live in a world where I need cabinets.
Right.
We don't need cabinets for 4 months.
Right.
And I get it. It's always better to have cabinets in the warehouse, but sometimes they could get damaged, or sometimes we've run into situations where the manufacturer will only honor, this came in damaged, that came in damaged for a period of X number of days, 90 days, something like that, after they've shipped it.
Right.
And so sometimes we'll go beyond that. So again, we want to make sure that project manager has what he needs when he needs it, but maybe 30 days before he needs it, and not 120. And it's helpful to have a schedule to know what you're shooting for. Right. And again, conversation around the table. If we need them before, we need them before. No big deal. but we ought to have that conversation there. That's often a time where we can point out that, hey, just remember this on this drawing. We've got a cabinet that says plus or minus, and that's because we need to pull a tape once you've done the demo. So let's make sure we put on this list that we re-huddle out at the job site, or you get us the information and get it to whoever's going to order that cabinet, just to make sure we don't get to the end of the job and who ordered that cabinet. Oh, I forgot.
And that's a great example, because on the form it goes, and then obviously we put a date, when we need it by. But then to me, just as important, like that example is a great one, because, well, who owns that? Who owns pulling that tape? Is that the designer or the PM? Is it and so then we make sure it's one person owned, because if two people own it, nobody owns it. So project, and in that case, I think you'd agree, it'd probably be the project manager, because they know exactly when when they've got it opened up and can measure
all of those sorts of things. And then I know Builder Trend is pretty popular software in the industry. So then that becomes a to-do item in Builder Trend. So it taps somebody on the shoulder a little while before that due date saying, hey, did you double check that dimension? Hey, now that you've got that dimension, did you order that cabinet? Those sorts of things that are so easy to get lost when you've got 10 clients you're dealing with at different stages in the process, whether that's pre-contract, post-contract. Project managers have things that are going to be starting up in the middle of the production, winding down. It's just a lot of details to keep track of.
Yeah, and we talk internally a lot about these kinds of meetings pre-construction, like this handoff meeting, as Bill referenced. We do, as we've talked in other podcasts about, handoffs or meetings before the sale is made, reviews by the production team and the sales. So there's a good amount of sort of kumbaya, bringing the team together, because we'd rather, let's wave the flag as early as possible. If there's concerns, issues, challenges, missing items, like you've mentioned, get them on a list or get it resolved one way or the other. Because once we start construction, things will, unfortunately, it seems like every job has a couple things come up, but we'd like it to be a couple things and not 50 things.
And again, in the spirit of best client experience, these little tiny things can really slow you down, or they're a hurdle to keep you from doing something else, and you look not great. And the client experience suffers as a result of that. And at least in our world, our best source of future work is past clients, that whether they come back themselves or refer us to others, that's the best source of future work.
And these typically are done in person, around a table, sleeves up, close the door. It's not a virtual sort of thing or a quick touch call or whatever, paperwork handed back and forth.
So it's usually often at that same meeting, we'll do a cabinet review time.
Good point.
If the time is available. Does that fix it every single time? Nope. We still find a way to screw up the cabinet.
But it's helped a lot.
It has helped a lot. And again, everybody needs an editor. So no matter who is ordering that, they still need a second set of eyes on it. And believe it or not, sales looks at that differently than design looks at that, then production looks at that. And so having that wealth of knowledge and those multiple perspectives involved just makes the project better.
And as you already said, but just to reiterate, we still have challenges with cabinets or other things, but it has immensely helped us with some of those issues. I mean, that's the reason we started it, obviously, was because we were having enough cabinet issues. Nobody's fault. It's just we weren't spending the right amount of time reviewing it.
And I remember when we really were insisting that this gets on, it was happening, but not across the board and all those sorts of things, and thinking there might be a little bit of resistance to it. And especially maybe even from design and sales. And now, at least the designers, they don't want to press go because they're the ones ordering the cabinets. Most of the time, some of the project developers order their own cabinets, but they don't want to press that without, we're ordering tens of thousands of dollars worth of material. The space hasn't been built yet. Nobody can pull that tape. And I'm pressing go. I would like to have a second set of eyes. So they've really come to rely on it, and just their anxiety and stress level has come down as a result.
Yeah, to me, maybe this is a bad analogy, but this is analogous, in my opinion, to paint prep. It's not the woohoo necessarily the fun, like you've given us some examples, getting really into the details, but just like paint prep, the paint job's only as good as the prep. And I feel like that definitely applies for us, at least with this. And as you've said a couple times, Bill, indirectly. It's the sticks and bricks, and did we get this detail or that detail or the cabinet? But it's also we're one team here. Let's get around a table and let's all be a team as we approach this. Not, oh, I sold it, and then project manager, you're on your own, or project manager throwing it back and saying, oh, designers didn't do this.
Yeah. So just recap. This happens after a contract is signed, before this work begins. This happens around a table with production, design, and project development. There is a structure to it in that there's an outline of a form that's followed to, like, did we have this? Oh, we need that. Who's responsible? What date? We go through the paperwork involved in a project, the estimate, the proposals, any special order items, contracts, drawings, all of those sorts of things, so that the team can feel like, okay, we understand this project, get where the gaps are. We've got, reminders in place to deal with those gaps, and the likelihood of that client having a great outcome increases as a result.
Well said.
So that's what we want to do.
Awesome.
Anything else to think about at this juncture?
Not that I feel like I should have something, but not that I can think of.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. It just takes a little time, and I know everyone's pretty time starved, so it's easy to say, "Oh, we don't have time to do that. That's another meeting." But we feel strongly that without this meeting, we would crash and burn a lot more often,
much more often, and also
the
be
team
stressed,
anxious, the clients and the team.
And so, again, if you're interested, we're happy to share what we've come up with. I would encourage you to spend a little bit of time thinking through what something like this would mean for you. And I get it. Everybody's been around for 150 years and they know how to do it without ever thinking about it. Wrong.
Right.
Wrong. Put a little checkbox together to guide that conversation. Make sure everything gets addressed, and don't let grout or, cabinet knob or towel bar fall through the cracks. And now you're scrambling at the end of the job, trying to get it done. And Mrs. Jones is looking at a door that doesn't have a knob on it. And it just not great.
Frustrates her.
Yeah, just not great. So I think that's about it.
Well done.
We will see you again shortly. Thanks for listening, and apply for the Fred Chase Award.
Damn it.
Do nothing else. See ya.